Breathe with me. Thank you, guys. Welcome back to Alchemize Soul 33. I'm your host, Destiny, the space where we disconstruct the noise of the world and alchemize it into wisdom for the soul. Today, we're tackling a question that feels like it's hanging in the air of this nation, heavy as humidity before a storm. It's a question asked in diners, in boardrooms, in whispered prayers at night. Can America be saved? It's a potent question, but here on Alchemize Soul 33, you know that the way you frame the question determines the answer you find. So before we answer, can it, we have to define what we mean by saved. Are we asking if we can go back to 1955, to 1999, to 2015? If saved means returning to some static, idolized past, then the answer is a hard no. The time is linear. The past is gone. We cannot unring the bells of social media, globalization, or political polarization. But if saved means healed, if it means resilient, if it means a nation that finally lives up to the radical promise of its founding documents, then not only can it be saved, but the process of saving it is already underway. So today we're going to look past the cable news panic and the doomsday scrolling. We're going to look at the spiritual and practical anatomy of a nation in crisis, and we're going to outline the blueprint for how renewal actually happens, not through a single election or a charismatic leader, but through something far more powerful. Let's begin. You can't heal a wound you refuse to look at. So let's be honest about the patient's condition. The pundits will tell you it's about inflation or the border or wokeism or Trumpism. Those are symptoms. They are the fever. They are not the virus. The virus is a spiritual disconnection. We have forgotten that we belong to each other. Think about it. For decades, we outsourced our sense of community. We outsourced it to massive corporations, to the two major political parties, to the screen in our pocket. We traded the town square for the algorithm. And what happened? The algorithm discovered that fear and anger are the most addictive drugs on the market. So it fed us a steady diet of it. This has led to 3 Pacific fractures. The fracture of trust. We no longer trust our institutions, the media, the government, the medical establishment. And when institutions fail, people don't become free. They become prey to the next charismatic strongman who offers simple answers to complex problems. The fracture of narrative. We don't just disagree on the facts anymore. We live in entirely different realities. One group lives in a story of persecution, another in a story of progress, another in a story of decay. When your truth is just content tailored to keep you watching, you can't have a conversation with someone who watched a different channel. The fracture of meaning. For all our material wealth, we are an impoverished nation spiritually. We have replaced purpose with productivity. We have replaced community with consumerism. We have replaced God or a higher power with politics. We are asking the government to fill a God-sized hole in our hearts, and we are shocked when it fails. So can a nation with broken trust, fractured narratives, and a crisis of meaning be saved? Only if we stop looking for a political savior and start looking in the mirror. This is where the alchemized part of our show comes in. Alchemy isn't about magic spells. It's about transformation. It's about taking base materials and through a process of intense heat and pressure, turning them into gold. For the last 50 years, we tried to save America through top-down alchemy, we thought. If we just elect the right president, if the Supreme Court just rules the right way, if we just pass this one massive bill, we have placed our faith in the layer of power in Washington, D.C., and we keep pulling it, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. The system isn't broken because bad people are in charge. The system is broken because it was designed to be slow. And we are living in an era of exponential change. We're trying to steer a super tanker with a canoe paddle. Saving America cannot and will not happen from the top down. It never has. The American Revolution wasn't won by politicians in the ballroom. It was won by farmers and blacksmiths in the field. The Civil Rights Movement wasn't won by the Supreme Court first. It was won by people like Rosa Parks and thousands of unknown martyrs who bled on a bridge in Selma. The law followed the moral transformation of the people, not the other way around. So, if not from the top, then how? Here's the hard truth and the beautiful hope. America will be saved one block, one community, one relationship at a time. It will be saved by the alchemists. These are the people who, in the midst of the heat and pressure, are turning the lead of despair into the gold of connection. There is a blueprint. It has 3 parts. You have the local reclamation. The future of America is not national. It's local. The era of looking to D.C. to solve your problem is over. The people who will save this country are the ones who decide that their city, their county, their neighborhood is their responsibility. This means showing up to school board meetings, not to scream, but to listen and serve. Shopping at local stores and knowing your local business owners by name. Mowing the lawn of an elderly neighbor, even if you disagree with their political yard sign. This is the small platoon philosophy. It's building resilience at the micro level so that when the macro level storms hit, you have a lifeboat. When you know your neighbor's dog's name, it's a lot harder to think they're a monster because of who they voted for. The Re-humanization. This is the hardest work. We have to learn to see each other again, not as avatars, not as political stereotypes, but as flawed, beautiful, struggling human beings. The alchemist tool here is curiosity. When you encounter someone whose views you find abhorrent or baffling, don't attack. Ask a question. Tell me how you came to believe that. What are you afraid will happen? What are you hoping for? You don't have to agree with them, but you have to understand them. Because the moment you dehumanize your opponent, you have already lost your own soul, and a nation of soulless people is already dead. The courageous middle, which is the loudest voices in America, are the extremes. They are funded by the algorithms and the donor class, but the majority of Americans live in the messy, complicated, compassionate middle. The alchemist's job is to stop being silent, to be a visible moderate, to say, I am a conservative who believes in protecting the environment, or I am a liberal who believes in secure borders and personal responsibility. By refusing to be pushed to the caricature of the left or the right, you build a bridge, and bridges are how you get from one side to the other. We don't need more warriors. We need more bridge builders. So back to the question. Can America be saved? Yes, but only if we stop waiting for someone else to do it. The salvation of America isn't a policy document. It's a spiritual practice. It's the practice of showing up. It's the practice of loving your actual physical neighbor. It's the practice of holding onto your principles while extending grace to those who hold different ones. The nation is not the land. The land will be fine. The nation is the government. Governments rise and fall. The nation is us. It is the living chain of people who have decided generation after generation that this experiment in liberty and justice for all is worth continuing. It will be saved by the teacher in a low-income school who stays late to tutor a kid who has no one at home. It will be saved by the small business owner who provides jobs and dignity in a town that was left for dead. It will be saved by you deciding that despair is a luxury you can no longer afford. The alchemy of America begins within. It begins when we heal the fracture in our own souls. From that healing, we heal our families. From healed families, we heal our communities. And from healed communities, we heal the nation. It won't happen overnight. It won't happen in an election cycle, but it will happen one soul at a time. This is Destiny. Thank you for being part of the alchemy on Alchemize Soul 33. Now go be the bridge.